Hi everyone, thanks for joining us here with the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, happy to be with you and joined by the guys. Tariq, Spence, how you doing, man?
Enjoying the NBA Finals, doing great and getting ready for summer.
Really am. It's a tremendous pairing. I don't have it on the agenda today, but I'm really enjoying seeing the Golden State Boston.
Absolutely.
You're wearing one of my favorite jerseys.
Well, the Quebec Nordiques, the Avalanche are in the Stanley Cup Finals. This is the original inclination of the Colorado Avalanche. By the way, they did the Browns to the Ravens thing too. The second they left Quebec, they became a good team, and they're back in the Stanley Cup Finals in what, the first time in 20 years?
Yeah.
I don't know, we're old.
Back in the Ray Bork days. But that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's the third best sweater of all time. Amerks are 1, the Green Whalers is 2. This is the third best sweater of all time.
And he keeps them so clean. It's like he just got that out the press.
No, you don't even have to wash these. These Nordique sweaters are so nice, they keep themselves clean.
Wow.
Yeah. Very good. Hey, this LIV, which is Roman numerals for 54, which is how many holes they play. There you go.
Cute.
Nugget of the day.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about the new golf league, Saudi sponsored. There's all kinds of levels to this. So what do you think?
Well, it's competition. I think the PGA is worried about this. It's called, taking some of their stars and moving them over here where you wanted them all in one spot. I will say this, though. I find it very interesting when we want to take these little political debates on certain topics and then avoid them on other topics, specifically on this. So I guess the Saudi money has become an issue. But has anybody looked into their house or maybe the appliances they have or the things that they do or maybe their 401k and see where their money is going? All of the money, entire world is commingled someplace else. Or their sneakers that they bought or where they were made and all the other. I don't want to get into this debate, but it seems to be.
No, you do, though.
But I do because we often want to say, let's keep politics out of sports. Yet politics is involved in every part of sports, every day, all the time. I believe Dustin Johnson said something to the point of the greatest line you can give, I'm doing what's best for my family.
Yeah, I mean, to draw a direct line to what you're saying, right? Like, look. There's a debate to be had about the Saudis and all this thing. And Phil Mickelson could not have said worse things than he did when this whole thing first started, right? That's what kicks this whole thing off. And I understand that there are people upset with this, but it's weird. The same folks that were taking shots at the NBA and LeBron James forever about
for
China, right? Those people have been awfully quiet. Those same exact people have been awfully quiet about Lefty, about Dustin Johnson, about all of these people that are leaving, right? Like, if you're going to turn sports into a political circus, which has been happening, well, just be consistent with it, right? If you're not going to watch the NBA and not support it because you don't agree with what LeBron James and the NBA is doing, well, you have to take the same take on what's happening here with this Saudi league because it's a direct correlation between the two things.
So it seems the whole thing, to your point, I think, it's also hypocritical. Because, like, I mean, if I'm working for somebody whose politics I don't agree with, does that mean I have to, or if I move to Texas or any of this stuff, that'll get called.
Yeah, they'll definitely talk about that. But I think you're right in a sense that if you look at your own house and see what you're doing and see where your money is going and see where it's allocated and what you buy, what country it comes from and the rights and we'd all be basically have no appliances and be naked for crying out loud and get rid of everything. But that being said, though, it is this discussion though about Gabe Kapler and this whole discussion over guns. You know what I mean? Nobody brings that up. If you have this issue, he's directly talking about Texas, but these things that keep coming up. I mean, the Brittany Griner shirts now, NBA. Nobody. 3 years ago, it was a huge debate on, well, we don't want politics mixed in together. But Bill, throughout years, politics has always been mixed in to make a point about an issue.
But at least those guys are going out and putting themselves out there and says, I want to talk about this. This thing, these guys don't want to talk about it, and it's like. Well, who wouldn't?
Well, but forever there have been guys that don't want to talk about things. Like, we only remember the great things that changed in our society because of sports. You remember your Bill Russells and your Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and your Muhammad Ali, right? And Jackie Robinson and the way that Sandy Koufax dealt with all that stuff, right? Like, you forget, along the way, there were guys on the other side going, I don't want to do anything. We keep our mouths shut. Yeah. So here's the thing. If we're going to celebrate the Jackie Robinsons and the Alis and the Russells and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and the Billie Jean Kings, I think you do have to acknowledge when you think something's being screwed up here, because without that, what do those other things mean? If we're going to take Jackie Robinson's number off of the back of every baseball player because of the significant contribution he made, which he did, absolutely, I agree with what you're doing, well, then how do you not address things that you don't believe are right with what's going on?
Let me ask you quickly, because the examples you gave are all old. Billie Jean King, Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, generations ago.
Sure.
Is this a statement on where we're at today versus where we were at maybe in the 60s, 70s?
Well, I think right now, I mean, you have a clearer picture of the 60s because we're further away from it, the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, whether it's, from Jackie Robinson up to Billie Jean King. Things are still blurry now within the last 25 years because we don't know how these things are going to play out socially. I mean, there have been massive steps made in sports that aren't fully acknowledged yet. I mean, hell, who knows how we look at Michael Sam being drafted as the first openly gay player? Who knows how we look at Carl Nassib being the first openly gay player in the NFL 15, 20, 25 years from now? That could be a massive step in sports history. It's just we're too close to it.
Yeah, good talk. Hey, we're talking Buffalo Bills next year on the Rochester Press Box. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. Ryan Fitzpatrick retired. I got to give you a shot at this. Unless you're using him in your last...
Oh, no.
Okay.
This is perfect.
Talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the greatest man that's ever walked the earth. And, I mean, and here's the thing. He gains almost deity-like status this week when it's revealed in an interview with Trey Wingo that it seems that the Bills might have been interested in bringing him back, and he refused to do it. And he says in his own words, and I'm paraphrasing, that he loves watching Josh Allen play so much. And the way that his career has gone, wherever he shows up, the starter gets hurt and he plays. He did not want to come to Buffalo knowing that he would probably be on the first playoff team in his life and have a chance at a Super Bowl ring because Josh Allen wouldn't play. He would get hurt and Fitzy would go. For Fitz so loved the Bills, he hold on. This is Aquinas.
You're trying to make it biblical.
No, I mean, it was biblical. It was biblical that the guy gave up millions of dollars so Bills fans could not worry that he was going to come off the bench this year. Bro, I mean, come on.
Fitzpatrick. He didn't want to do Fitzpatrick to him. So
he was only begotten contract. I'm sorry.
Which I would actually argue I would want Fitzpatrick. Remember, you have a new offensive coordinator. You have a quarterback who's played a lot of football. You would want his magic, his Fitz magic, somewhere on your team. He's not going to take the starting role. He's not going to take the leadership, but an extra quarterback with an extra batch of eyes with that offense that has now changed. I don't mind Fitzpatrick coming back.
You got Case Keenum, who is pretty good. Look, I remember
and Matt Barkley.
Yeah,
and Matt Barkley as well. I mean,
are you going with Keenum?
No, you're going with Case Keenum.
Those
Case
who
Keenum's
can't
a good quarterback.
Teach. I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh.
Don't you think?
I mean,
Case Keenum's good.
I mean, he's not. I mean,
who's in a better backup situation than the Buffalo Bills? Case Keenum sitting back.
Look, I don't disagree with what you're saying there. I don't know if I'd say good. I don't want to see him play, right? I mean, look, Mitchell Trubisky last year being behind Josh Allen, it's not going to be Josh Allen, but let's put it, I had more faith in Mitchell Trubisky to lead this offense than I do, as of right now, Case Keenum, if that's what you're asking.
Change gears here. Let me, that 13-second thing that happened to the Bills last year against Kansas City, it resurfaced when the new special teams coach threw his predecessor under the bus, it seemed to me, by saying it was a lack of communication there and saying, that wasn't really the way we had it designed.
Well, guess what? You got about, 16, 17 games to basically prove the fact that that's never going to happen again. And if it does happen again, well, I guess you look silly. All I can basically say is, and you as a Bills fan, you have to move on from this.
Oh, yeah.
What happens here is this whole thing again, wide right stays in your psyche, and it can destroy you forever. Get out of it.
Did you just say get out of it and then bring up wide right again, you monster?
Because this is your new wide right if you don't get over this.
Stop saying that!
I will say it 3 more times. You will once again relive wide right if you don't get over 13 seconds.
Okay, I'm over it. Again, I don't think that becomes the greatest NFL game of all time without 13 seconds. And I do think that this is part of the superhero story, right? You're going to have to slay the dragon in Kansas City in the playoffs. This just makes it that much sweeter. It is surprising the way that things are so locked up normally at one Bills drive that this comes out at a press conference in the offseason, because if this happens in the regular season, whatever, there's film. This is going to be talked about for a long time, and it's going to be brought up when they talk about the Chiefs game, when the Bills play the Chiefs in the regular season, and when they probably play them again in the playoffs.
Or a special teams moment in a game that cost the Bills the game, because that's when it comes right back out again.
And McDermott tried to keep a lid on it, because when they asked McDermott about it, didn't want to talk about it. And here his new coach comes in and says,
Yeah, no, that was very strange. I mean, but that's what McDermott's the best at, right? Look, as someone who's works in media and sports media, there was a time with the Bills where I knew what was happening, I think before half the franchise knew what was happening. The second McDermott showed up, that all went away, which sucks for me because I like, knowing things nobody else knows because it makes me cool. But yeah, that was a shock. I thought it was a fake statement until I watched the video and I was like, why are you doing that?
Don't bring up old stuff.
Don't bring up old stuff.
Don't bring up old stuff.
Like you just said.
I know, because I wanted to stop. It's the pattern is continuing.
Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not is next.
I'm sorry.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Hey, your getaway guy with a family getaway that's nearby and it's cheap. And what a ride. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. It's on my latest podcast and then some at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Like it or not, Carmelo Anthony does not get a job with the Los Angeles Lakers.
I don't like it because I still slightly root for Carmelo, but this whole thing about, it's LeBron James's fault, it's not. Carmelo apparently has friends throughout the league. They could get him on a roster. So I don't really like this whole narrative that it's always LeBron's fault because they're friends and he didn't help him come out. I think he could end up in Brooklyn with the Nets, would be an interesting fit. For the last few years of his career. But if he doesn't end up on a team, I think it's the league that's passed him by age-wise, and they're not tolerating any acts, and this is the way it is.
I think blackballing's a little strong.
It is, but he still has some ball left in him. It's just a matter of how many bridges did he burn that would say, I don't want him on my team.
I'm just saying a very smart man brought that point up a couple weeks ago. Just saying.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the... Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here with the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, I don't like it. Never wish for a guy to lose their job. But in Major League Baseball, Joe Girardi and Joe Maddon both were fired over the last week.
Accomplished managers. I'm kind of shocked by this because of the fact that, these guys have been in baseball for such a long time and good resumes. What concerns me a little bit, too, is the fact that their payroll is very big and they were expected to do extremely well. I don't understand how the Angels don't work. I really can't figure this out. Shohei Ohtani is the star, basically, of baseball, one of the top 5 stars. They get him out there, they pitch him, they hit him. Trout gets hurt yet again. Is one of the best players, and I can't figure them out. I can't figure out why, if Madden can't put that together when he had a less of a talented team in Tampa Bay and they went to the World Series. I don't get the Angels. I really can't figure it out.
To your point, you have 2 of the top 5 named ball players in Major League Baseball in Trout and Ohtani, and you can't do anything with it. It was funny, though. Like, hey, have you coached in Chicago at some point in your career? Get the hell out! Get out! Everybody out right now! Go this week.
Girardi's in the same spot. Philadelphia, Bryce Harper, a lot of payroll.
Yeah.
This is all the price of expectation.
And Didi came over, yeah. And I can't figure it really out. Like, the fact that they're getting rid of them so early, I don't even think we're through a third of the baseball season yet.
Yeah, but when you go from one of the best records in the majors to 2 games under 500 in a matter of a week and a half, I do think you have to do something, right?
I always like to turn it to hockey, too. Why is it the hockey? They fire coaches that if their manners are poor at the dinner table.
Everybody but the Sabres. But yes, it is very strange, right? And I think that NHL hockey teams look at coaches as disposable because, like Major League Baseball, you have a whole system full of coaches from the top down. And it's nothing for a head coach to go from a minor league hockey program to a head coaching system in the NHL and have success. Hell, Dan Bylsma did it in 1 season in Pittsburgh, went from the AHL coach to becoming head coach this season and won a Stanley Cup. I think they just look at them as hired guns with the exception of like 5 to 7 guys.
Give me a capsule on the Nordiques. The latter-day Nordiques, now the Avalanche, who are in the finals.
Look, I was confident that whoever was coming out of the Eastern Conference was going to win the Stanley Cup. After watching what they were able to do to Edmonton, holy cow, they look scary. Like, I am very much looking forward to this Stanley Cup final. Because as we tape this, it's 2-2 Lanch and Rangers. Unless the Lightning go and they are completely out of gas, because they've played now like 3/4 of a full season in just extra hockey last year. This is going to be really, really, really good.
My God, the Avalanche, 2 sweeps.
Whew. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law with Unfinished Business next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Greg will meet or beat any competitor's price and can finance you with 0 down. Call today or visit gregtheroofer.com. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. Pat, start us off.
We've had a great NBA Finals so far, and we're watching legitimate basketball for several reasons, things we haven't seen in a long time. The coaching matters this year, and you're witnessing it in Game 1 and Game 2. Udoka, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, he's got this team to play phenomenally, and they're playing actual team basketball with things drawn out, ready to roll. They have more talent, I believe, than what they have across the court in Golden State. You can roll your eyes, Tariq, I see it all you want. They're a little past their prime. And everybody can hit a shot in Boston. But what's keeping Golden State afloat is Steve Kerr. Game 1, the Golden State Warriors came out of halftime and went on an insane third-quarter run. It was only the team basketball and talent of the Celtics, Al Horford hitting threes out of nowhere all over the place, that saved them. Then, in Game 2, same thing happened, except the adjustment Steve Kerr made coming out of the locker room at halftime stuck into the fourth quarter. The Celtics can play team ball. Everybody can hit a shot, and they play amazing defense. And I think the only thing that Golden State has going for them is that pedigree that Steve Kerr has. Watch the rest of this series, because if it's going to go the way I think it's going to go, as much as I want Boston to win this series just because I want team basketball back in the NBA, Boston can't stop them out of halftime because of the coaching of Steve Kerr.
So Simone Biles and about 90 other gymnasts in women's gymnastics have decided they want to sue in a lawsuit against the FBI. Like, I don't know anybody who's ever sued the FBI, but we'll wait and see what happens with that lawsuit. But the reason why is because apparently they told them about Larry Nassar and he was still able to operate. That concerns me in the most. Even if you're just women's gymnastics, why didn't he just be put on administrative leave? Why wasn't he just benched altogether or taken out of the facility? He was still able to operate, and that's what leads to the $1 billion lawsuit. Listen, I'm not sure if they're going to win this lawsuit. I don't know if anybody who's ever won a lawsuit against the FBI, but if there were going to be one, this would be the one to do it. We have to find a way to continue to protect our young athletes, our older athletes, all of our athletes, coaches, and anybody else that steps in that building. If there's a predator in the building, they got to go.
Sports fans love unmitigated greatness. We put teams on a pedestal just so we can shoot them down. And we'll keep on shooting even if it takes years to score a hit. Consider Oklahoma University softball. The Sooners won their 5th national championship last year. They established new single-season records in the NCAA for virtually every offensive category. Batting average, home runs, runs scored, you name it. They hit 13 home runs in a single game. Think about that. And finished 56-4 for an encore. Oklahoma this year is 57-3 heading into the World Series final. They added a pitcher who transferred out of North Texas after a perfect game. Hope Troutwine struck out 21 in that contest. That's every hitter she faced. She joined a team that won its first 40 out of the gate, outscored their opponents this year 500-47, pitched 31 shutouts, 7 no-hitters, and won via the mercy rule 40 times. Not for nothing. There's a waiting list of over 600 for general admission tickets for their games. Forget about getting an actual reserve seat. They're building a new $28 million softball stadium in Norman that will double capacity in 2 years. Oklahoma softball is obscenely dominant and irresistible to watch. The Sooners will lose someday, and we don't want to miss it. Just so that we can say, ha, I told you it couldn't last. Be prepared to wait a while on this one. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our program. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
I just want a Game 7 in the NBA. That's all I asked for.
How about Game 7's all the way around? Because after that, it's just baseball until training camp opens.
Hey, the Avalanche don't have that plan. They want to sweep again.
No, I meant in the Stanley Cup Finals, man.
No.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.